journey was sliding to success early last night while the Brewers' offense was looking mighty grand. But some games don't always finish as they start. The Phillies' offense that was non-existent in Pittsburgh emerged in Milwaukee during a Game 2 barrage of production. A second straight win against the NL's best, and the Phillies are in a bit of a roll. Coming into the series, the Phillies fans were kind of wandering around in search of a little offense. Well, they found it against the Milwaukee Brewers, in particular last night when the Phillies banged out 9 runs to win that ball game 9-7. Tonight it's Game 3 from Miller Park between the Phils and the Brewers. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Jamie Moyer. After a quiet weekend offensively in Pittsburgh, the Phillies have kind of come to life in the first 2 games against the Brewers. But tonight, they'll have to deal with a guy who is a bona fide Major League pitcher in Kyle Lohse, the former Phil, who's kind of turned his career around. It started when he was with the St. Louis Cardinals. Dave Duncan had a huge impact on him. He dealt with some injuries in 2009 and 2010, won just 10 games. His earned run average was high. But since 2011, his ERA 3.19, and the opposition hitting just 247 against him. He has really established himself as a presence in both the Cardinals rotation, Jamie, and the Brewers rotation.
He has, Tom, and it started with learning the sinker and not trying to become the power pitcher or be the power pitcher he wanted to be. Learned the value of a sinker, and that's what he was able to use since 2008-09. He got hurt, pitched hurt. In 2010, he had a surgery. 2011-12, he's had great seasons, and here are his numbers in his last 5 starts against the Phillies, where he's been really outstanding. He's got a 3-0 record, and earlier in the season, when he pitched in Philadelphia, he really used the Phillies' strengths against them. He took their aggression, and he took his ability to become that major league pitcher, that good, consistent major league pitcher he's become, and use his sinker, his changeup, and his slider very effectively.
The Phillies are hitting just .219 against him in the last 5 starts. All right, the Phillies are hoping that once again they can hand the bullpen the lead tonight. The bullpen has been outstanding since the first month of the season.
They have, and they've been handed the lead, which we've been talking about during the course of the games. And Diekman playing the role he played last night, came in the 7th inning, got 2 big strikeouts. And then Giles comes in and does his job, gets that big ground ball, pitches the 8th inning, has a clean 8th inning, gets a ground ball, and then hands the ball over to Jonathan Papelbon to do what he normally does, is close out games.
Yeah, Papelbon has had 1-2-3 saves in the first 2 games of this series. He's continued to have good velocity and good location. And the Phillies hope that he'll have the same location tonight, and they'll be able to use him in the bottom of the 9th inning. It'll be Roberto Hernandez making his 17th start of the season for the Phillies. He did not pitch well in his last outing on July 4th against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And, of course, Kyle Lohse will get the baseball for the Brewers. Well, the long ball has returned in this series for the Phils. Chase Utley in game number 1. That helped the Phils get started early. And then Dominic Brown had a nice night last night. He also went yard. When we return, we'll go to the Comcast Sportsnet studios. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Citizens Bank, introducing One Deposit Checking. Keeping things simple is helping you bank better. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. By Toyota, where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. And by Independence Blue Cross, the most preferred health plan in the region. Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Victories in a row. The offense sparked yesterday by a couple different guys. Same guys that are in the lineup tonight against these Milwaukee Brewers. Let's take a look at that lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Ben Revere leads it off at center field. Jimmy Rollins bats second. Chase Utley hits third, followed by Ryan Howard and Marlon Byrd. Cody Ashley's over at third base. He'll bat sixth. In the bottom third of Dominic Brown, Cameron Rupp, and Roberto Hernandez. And they'll face Brewers right-hander Kyle Loesch, who's 9-3 on the year with an ERA of 3.18. Now, it's 3.18, but that also includes an outing where he allowed 8 earned runs in 5 innings against the Pittsburgh Pirates. So imagine where it would be if he didn't have that outing.
Yeah, Kyle's throwing the ball very well this year. We saw that earlier this season in Philadelphia. He's a 4-pitch pitcher, and he'll use all 4 of those pitches: a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, 75-mile-an-hour curveball, 84-mile-an-hour slider, and 80-mile-an-hour changeup. So, and we'll see tonight. When he gets to 2 strikes, he's going to use a fastball about 38% of the time, and a slider about 38% of the time. So, 70+% of the time, we're going to see one of those 2 pitches.
All right. Well, he's ready to go. So is Ben Revere. Revere 4 for 10 so far, with 3 runs scored in the series. And the first pitch of the night is in there for a strike, and it's 0-1. Revere hitting .294 with a home run and 11 runs batted in. Quickly 0-2. 2 different locations with those pitches.
And in learning how to pitch, I think Kyle Loesch has become a strike thrower. Early in his career, he didn't throw near as many strikes, and he relied mostly on power. He's now become a pitcher using all 4 pitches.
Well, since leaving the Phillies after the 2007 season, he's 75-48 with an ERA of 3.73. And he picks up a strikeout to start the first. Well, it's time now for the Nissan keys to tonight's ball game.
My first key tonight is to keep Kyle Loesch from gaining momentum. If you recall, back in Philadelphia, he got off to a pretty good start and really kind of handled the club fairly easily. My second key will be continue to work the counts like they did last night and score in bunches.
Well, they certainly were able to score a bunch last night in the second inning when they scored 5 runs. That erased a 5-1 deficit. Then they scored 2 more in the 5th inning after a single run in the 3rd. Chase Utley's been a big part of the first inning scoring in these first 2 games. As Rollins falls behind 0-2. Rollins has really struggled on this road trip. He's 0 for his last 18. And 4 for 28 overall on the road trip. Now the 0-2 pitch to him. Outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Fanny Strockbine of Levittown, PA. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game, then Fanny will win $100. 2 balls and 2 strikes is where it remains for Rollins.
First 2 hitters of the game, Kyle Loesch started out 0-2. And he's going to be aggressive. He's going to come after the Phillies hitters and force them to swing the bat. But it's trying to get them to swing at his pitch, not their pitch.
Well, this will be the 10th pitch of the inning. Most of those pitches coming against Rollins, and he fouls it again over the Phillies dugout. And it remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Brewers are wearing the old school uniforms tonight. The uniforms that they wore when they last went to the World Series. And the only time they went to the World Series. Rollins lifts it out toward right field. On the way back is Schaefer, and he leaps up at the last moment to put it away. There are 2 outs here. The first will bring Chase Utley to the plate.
And his first 2 outs tonight, he's gotten on a changeup. So it looks like he's starting guys off hard early in the count, and then late in the count going soft.
Rollins was just a little out in front of that one. Utley hitting .292. He's 4 for 7 in this series. 5 runs batted in. Loesch has given up 11 earned runs in the first inning of games this year. His location's been pretty good though in this first inning. It's no balls and 1 strike to Utley. Ball hit foul, and it's 0-2. All right, so 3 straight hitters now, no balls and 2 strikes. Jeff Kellogg, the veteran, is behind the plate. He's the crew chief. Dan Bellino's at first. Brian Onora is at second, and Pat Hoberg is around at third. Jeff Kellogg was one of the umpires in the 2008 World Series.
Kyle Loesch's most recent numbers in his last 6 games, he's thrown 36 innings, and he has a little bit above average ERA at 4.5. So hopefully the Phillies can keep him at that or more.
Another foul ball, and it remains 1-2. Martin Maldonado is doing the catching tonight. Whether this matters or not, I don't know if it does. You would probably tell me better than anybody. It's the 4th game this year that Maldonado is caught with Loesch on the mound, and Loesch's earned run average is 2.14 when Maldonado is behind the plate.
They've been able to connect. They work well together, obviously.
Now it's well over 3 when Jonathan Lucroy, who's a very good catcher, is behind the plate.
And I think most managers like to think that, especially with their starting pitchers, that I can put either one of them out there. You don't want to try to get to the point where I can only throw to one catcher, because if that guy ends up going down, and you've got to rely on this starting pitcher to pitch the rest of the year, it could have a detrimental effect on a ball club.
Last night, Willie Peralta, I don't know if it would have mattered if Maldonado's behind the plate or that Lucroy was behind the plate, because Lucroy saved him a bunch of times.
He did, and he wasn't very effective last night. I'm sure he didn't have a good night's sleep thinking about it either.
There's the 1-2 again to Utley, and he pulls it deep down the right field line. On the run is Schaefer out to the wall. It is gone! Another first inning lead for the Phils. A home run for Chase Utley, his 8th of the year, and it's 1-0 Philadelphia. Well, he got a sinker and he golfed it out of the ballpark. And Fanny Strockbite of Levittown, Pennsylvania, you've just won $100 thanks to the McDonald's home run jackpot.
I think Kyle tried to sneak a 2-seamer by Chase, and I think that ball ran back out over the plate a little bit. Chase is very quick inside. He hit that ball pretty hard, pretty much on a line out to right field for a home run.
Well, that group of fans right there, those Philly fans, they were right in the mix for that home run. It's pretty cool. One ball and no strikes now to Ryan Howard. Howard 1 for 7 in the series with a couple of walks, and he pulls that one hard, and it's caught. Nope, it's picked on one hop by Overbay. And the side is retired, but the Phillies do strike first. Chase Utley, well, he has found his legs in this series. He just smoked one over the wall and right to give the Phils a 1-0 lead. for the most live sports. It's Gomez, Segura, and Scooter Gennett batting third. Then Aramis Ramirez, Chris Davis, and Lyle Overbay. Martin Maldonado, the catcher, bats seventh. Logan Schaefer will hit eighth. And batting ninth and pitching, of course, is Loesch. And they'll face Phillies right-hander Roberto Hernandez. 3-8 on the year. 4.48 earned run average. For Roberto, it's his final start before the All-Star break. And if he doesn't pitch well, Cliff Lee needs a spot in this rotation. And Ryan Sandberg has to make a decision on whose spot he's going to take.
Yeah, and the nice thing about Roberto, he has pitched out of the bullpen. If that is the possible scenario for the Phillies and Ryan Sandberg, but you're right. He needs to be effective and try to eat up some innings here tonight with his fastball, slider, changeup combination. We see on the road so far he's got a 2-3 record with a 6.63 ERA.
He's only appeared in 2 games against the Brewers, and he gets Gomez to foul the first pitch off. It's 0-1. Gomez's 44th ball game as the leadoff batter. It's that one back to the mound, and Roberto fires over to first, 1 away. Well, step one is to get that guy from getting on base. You can check that off if you're Hernandez.
And he did it with 2 pitches as well.
So now Gene Segura, the shortstop, will be the batter. Segura is 3 for 25 in the month of July, and he's 4 for his last 33. Takes a fastball for a strike. It's 0-1. Segura is 2 for 7 so far in the series against the Phillies. Chopper left side. Rollins is there. Well, let's take a look at today's current weather conditions, brought to you by Oliver Heating and Cooling. Visit oliverheatcool.com. Now, weather out here in July is normally similar to what we have back home. Not tonight. 71 degrees and breezy. In fact, it felt like a fall day, early fall day. It was absolutely gorgeous here in Milwaukee. But yeah, some folks have some sweatshirts on. The roof is open. The panels are closed out in the outfield. And that's an indication that it is a little breezy. Those are the panels. Scooter Gennett takes a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike.
So far, we're seeing Roberto able to get the ball to have some downward action with his sinker. And that's a really good sign.
Out toward left field. Dominic Brown will make an easy play on this one. Side is retired. So downward action and only 7 pitches. He retires the Brewers in order. We'll go to the second with the Phillies on top. 1-0. The start of a 3-game series at 7:05, 7:15 on Saturday, and the giveaway is the SEPTA Fanatic Beach Towel, free to fans 14 and under. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. Go to the second. Marlon Byrd will take a breaking ball. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Byrd 1 for 8 with 3 strikeouts in this series. That one is rocketed. Oh, what a play by Segura at shortstop. A diving stab. 1 out here in the second.
See a fastball right here on the line. The only way to catch that ball for Segura was to dive, and he did. Turns it into a nice play.
He liked the play. Loesch did. He wasn't happy with how hard that ball was hit. It's a good thing for the Phils. They've hit a couple balls hard. Here's Cody Ashe. He takes a breaking ball. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Ashe 1 for 2 earlier this season against Kyle Loesch, and overall hitting .313 against the Brewers. Ashe, a .250 batter, 6 home runs, 26 runs batted in. And he fouls it away. It's 2-1.
You watch how many times early in the game a starting pitcher throws an off-speed pitch, and when he doesn't throw it for a strike, he usually doesn't back it up with the same pitch. And right there with Cody, he threw a fastball away, then he backed up the fastball with another fastball. And I really like how Jimmy and Chase worked the count in both of their at-bats. Both saw 7 pitches.
3-2. And Jimmy, I know he flied out to the track, but he just missed giving the Phillies a 1-0 lead. Just a little out in front of the changeup. There's the payoff pitch coming to Ashe. And a call. Strike 3. Jeff Kellogg doesn't have a broad strike zone tonight, but he certainly has a low strike zone, which is going to be in Loesch's favor. Kyle Loesch, Murph, has become one of the better right-handed pitchers in the National League. Fairly consistent over the last several years.
Yeah, certainly he has, and Jamie's breakdown of him early in this game was very interesting. Coming into this series, guys, 4 right-handed pitchers going to be thrown against the Phillies, and I was talking to Ryan Sandberg before the game about the success they've been having in this short period of 2 wins, and he said they're just getting the key hits, but they're getting them against right-handers, and that's been something that they've struggled with all year long. Just a batting average of .234 as a team versus right-handers coming into the game, coming into this series. But so far in this series, close to .300 against the right-handers, .296, 16 for 54. That certainly is a good sign because, with a very lefty-laden lineup like the Phils have, you're going to need to have success against right-handers. They were able to do that so far in this series in Milwaukee, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that there are more right-handers in the game than left-handers, and a lot of talk has been about the Phillies' lack of success against left-handed pitching. You've got to be able to hit righties. Dominic Brown goes down looking. 3 strikeouts for Kyle Loesch. Phillies go down in order, and we'll go to the bottom of the second. Touch Museum on Saturday, July 19th from 9 a.m. until noon. Play games and win prizes. Plus, at noon, there'll be the Phillies Sports Parade. So stop on by the Police Touch Museum on the 19th of July. 1-0 Phils, bottom of the second. Roberto Hernandez will face Aramis Ramirez, Chris Davis, Lyle Overbay. It's the middle of the Brewers lineup that does not have Ryan Braun again. That ball's hit toward the hole. Diving stop. Rollins to his feet quickly. Throws to first, and it's off the glove of Ryan Howard, and Aramis Ramirez is safe at first. And that'll be the first hit of the night for the Brewers.
Well, Tom, you alluded that Kyle Lohse would take advantage of the bottom of the strike zone. And I think if Roberto Hernandez is paying attention here and seeing the success that not only he had, but Kyle Lohse has had, there's a tough throw right there. Jimmy had to go in a hole, get on his feet, and make a throw, and it was just a little bit up the line, just out of Ryan Howard's reach. It looked like it went off the tip of his thumb of his glove. Getting back to that, you know, if Roberto can realize that, you know, he is calling that low strike, excuse me, he should really be able to utilize that too.
Well, he's worked ahead of Davis. No balls and 1 strike. Rollins, by the way, signaled to Howard that his ball sort of had a screwball action to it. Just the way he gripped it or pressured it as it was coming over. Back-to-back sinkers, and it's 0-2 to Chris Davis, who's a .256 hitter. He's talking about it.
It's all right. Looks like you'll get plenty more tonight. Right here, get one and turn a double play.
He's already had 2 attempts. One of the first, one here in the second. Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Diamondbacks on top of the Marlins in 10 innings. Didi Gregorius, 2 hits, including a triple and a run scored for the D-backs. Marlins are 4-6 in their last 10 ball games. Now the 0-2 pitch coming to Davis in the dirt, blocked by Rupp, 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes. Ground ball toward third. That's a fair ball. Ashe's got it. Long throw to first and handled by Howard. 1 away. And is Ron Renicky going to come out? Does he think that Howard bobbled that ball? And here he comes. His foot didn't come off the bag, and that's what Renicky was signaling to the first base coach. And he never lost control of it, and I believe they are content that the right call was made. Ramirez goes to second, 5-3 of the putout. And that'll bring Lyle Overbay to the plate, who had a grand slam in last night's ball game. Overbay 1 for 4 in this series. I would think that he's picked up more plate appearances than he probably imagined when he signed with the Brewers. Most spots that he had been with them in recent years, he hadn't really played a whole lot. Broke his back. Base hit it to center field. Ramirez is being waved home. The throw by Revere is not in time. It just trickles to the plate. And it's a 1-1 ball game. honestly thought that there was a chance, because Ramirez got such a late start, that there was a chance that Revere could throw him out. And if there was just a little bit more on the throw, he would have.
Yeah, Ben Revere came to this ball quite hard, and by the time he picks it up and his momentum brings him forward, and Ramirez is not even at third base until he's starting to throw that ball. But unfortunately, when it hit, the ball just died and it bounced twice before it even got to the plate. There's no carry on that throw whatsoever.
So a 1-1 ball game with a runner at second hit of the inning, and there's a strike to Martin Maldonado. No balls and 1 strike. Maldonado 0 for 1 so far in this series. Overall hitting .258, but you see what he's done against right-handed pitching. Lucroy doesn't miss a whole lot of games, and hence Maldonado having just 72 plate appearances. There's Jonathan Lucroy, who's made the All-Star team representing the National League. 1 ball, 1 strike. Out of play, and it's 1-2.
Credit Lyle Overbay there for taking second base. Again, I'm sure teams know that Ben doesn't have one of the stronger arms in the league from center field, and with him seeing that ball coming to the plate with a trajectory, it was easy for him to get to second base.
And now he could score on a base hit to, well, definitely to center and to any of the outfield spots if he gets a good jump. Aramis Ramirez with an infield hit and came around to score on the base hit by Overbay. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Maldonado. Swing and a miss. He got him. Threw him a slider, it looked like.
Yes, it was.
So first strikeout for Roberto Hernandez.
Very good slider. Broke down out of the bottom of the zone. Again, Roberto looks like he has really good top to bottom movement tonight.
Even the ball that Overbay hit, he broke his bat. Part of the reason why Ramirez was able to score, coupled with the lack of arm strength from Ben out in center. The ball wasn't hit all that hard.
And being a sinker ball pitcher, at times those are the types of hits you give up. You know, the toppers, the broken bat just over the infield, off the end of the bat to the outfield. You know, that happens when you're a sinker ball pitcher.
1 ball, no strikes. Outside, 2-0. He's got Loesch on deck. Now Loesch is a pretty good hitting pitcher. Not as good as he used to be, but he still put the bat on the ball. Trying to get the 8-hole hitter here. And there's ball 4. That'll put runners on first and second with 2 men down. And Kyle Loesch is coming up. The other day, the first day we were in town, we were watching the pitchers for the Brewers take batting practice. And I mean, They were teeing off pretty good on Joe Crawford, who was one of the batting practice pitchers for the Brewers. Willie Peralta was hitting balls a mile.
They call it batting practice, Tom.
But out at the foot of the slide. And Loesch was hitting some pretty good ones. Garza as well. I mean, Peralta, we didn't see it last night. I mean, but really letting loose.
You know, as much as Matt won't believe it, pitchers are pretty good athletes.
I didn't bring that up for you to be able to just make that statement.
He's not here to defend himself.
Ashe at third. His throw to first is in time. His side is retired. The Brewers do tie it up on an RBI single by Lyle Overbay. So on to the third in a 1-1 game. Go to the fan section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Jamie, who holds the Brewers record for sacrifice flies in a season with 14? I will tell you that I came to the old stadium and I saw him play in a Brewers uniform, and I was 3 rows behind the on-deck circle, and he was enormous.
County Stadium. Recall the year?
I can probably give you.
Was it in the question?
Yes, it was.
So you can tell me. I don't remember what it was.
I can tell you, but I've since forgotten.
Okay. Yeah. So did I.
1990.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the year I was here.
Well, yeah, because you said you were here.
Yeah,
it was the year.
Cameron Rupp will lead it off, and he hits it foul.
Wow, they've had some big boys. Billy Joe Robideau was a big boy. Rob Deere was a big boy.
He was a big boy.
Dave Parker was a big boy.
He was a big boy. Cameron Rupp hitting 115, no homers and 2 RBIs. And it's no balls and 2 strikes to him. Rupp 0 for 4 so far in the series. And he's down on strikes. Three pitches to Rupp. 4 strikeouts now for Loesch. And 1 out here in the third.
There were 2 sliders right there. Strike 2 and strike 3. Pretty good sliders. So he's got a pretty tight spin, and looks like it's breaking off the plate and out of the zone.
Two, 5 pitches, 5 strikes. Although that may not have been a strike, but it was because he swung at it. So no balls and 2 strikes to Hernandez with 1 out here in the top of the 3rd. And a foul ball, and it remains 0-2. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts. 5 now for Loesch. And with 2 outs, we'll go back to the top of the order for Ben Revere. On Monday, July 21st, the Phillies will take on the San Francisco Giants. It's a 4-game series, 3 night games, and then Thursday, the 24th, is a day game. It's a Citizens Bank Business Person Special. Tickets are available for all 4 of those games by going to Phillies.com.
Dave Nilsson was a big kid, Australian kid that played here.
He was big, not as big as the other 3 that you mentioned.
Did our Canadian friend play here? I don't think he did he?
That's a great question.
I don't believe he did. He played for so many teams, I don't remember them all.
Watch it.
He can't defend himself right now.
There's a little dribbler up the 3rd base line. Loesch barehands and throws in time to get Ben Revere. That's a heck of a play. The guy is a very good athlete, and he made that one look kind of easy. Middle of the 3rd as Ben limps away in a 1-1 game. Hospitals. Call 800-JEF now for an appointment. By the Pennsylvania Lottery, benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. And by the Quality Plus Ford stores. Go further. 1-1 ball game as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Roberto Hernandez will get set to face the top of the order. And Juan Samuel, Phillies first base coach, joins us from down in the dugout. Sammy, thanks for joining us on a beautiful night for baseball.
You're very welcome. Anytime, T.
Hey, how good is it to get these runs early on?
We need to score first. As you know, we have not been very good coming from behind. So get us some momentum. I know they tied the ball game, but hey, we got a good chance.
You know, I know we've talked about offense ad nauseum as that one is drilled deep down the left field line, but foul. But it's 0-1. You know, we've talked about the offense, and I know you guys want to put things in motion a little bit more too, but it's hard when you don't have a whole lot of base runners.
You're right about that. I know Rhino wants to do that, but you know, you got to have the right guys at the plate also to do that. You know.
That one's foul over to the third base side, and it's no balls and 2 strikes.
It's been time where he'll let me know ahead of time. Hey, you know, heads up with this guy.
I was thinking about that.
He let me know ahead of time, but we have not had those guys on base very much.
I saw you talking to Carlos Gomez before the ball game. Do you know him?
I know Carlos very well. Carlos played for me in AA one year that I spent in Binghamton, New York for the Mets. He was one of my guys there.
Did you like him even back then?
Oh, I love them, Ben. I love them more. It was the same guy, same intensity, which it was funny. They would try to have me tone him down a little bit. They said he was too hyper, too aggressive. And I told Omar Minaya at that time, give me 10 Gomez. I'll take him.
Well, he's down on strikes. He just lost his helmet. And there's one away. That's 2 strikeouts in the ball game for Roberto Hernandez.
Juan, take a look at this swing right here. It's a changeup. I got it as a changeup down and away. And look at Gomez. I mean, he's out of Roberto Hernandez's hand. He thinks it's a fastball, and it just never gets there. So,
well, Carlos is your typical Dominican hitter. We come up the island swinging.
I agree there. But Juan, I got a question for you. What do you think of the replay this year?
You know, I know it's going to get a lot better. The one I have issues with, and we all do, is the play at the plate. You know, I know they're trying to get the plays right, you know, which is the object of this game, but it's some situation at home plate. I think they probably need to fix a little bit.
Now, when you're coaching first, are you changing anything because of replay? Are you getting into discussions a little bit more just to give Larry Boa time to get, a look at it? I mean, are you looking at the bag a little bit more? Are you looking at anything differently?
I'm looking at the bag, making sure those guys stay on the base, and kind of, if I have an idea, kind of be a little bit animated about it, give Ryan a chance and Larry Boa to call the replay.
There's a grounder over to third, a chopper to third. Cody Ashley throws to first in time. All right, we had that play at the plate earlier where Ramirez scored from second. I know you've been working with Ben with his arm strength. Have you seen progress with his arm strength? Which is funny. When pregame, he throws very, very well. With game situation, it just seems like he's not getting a good grip. He's rushing everything there. We have not seen the same throw that he's doing during the game that he's been doing during pregame. And I guess that's something that you could keep talking to him about or remind him about. But I guess we always say game situations are much different than BP situations. Exactly. Now that one's hit toward the middle. And Ryan Howard digs it out. Well, Sammy, you used to throw it on a line on a buzz from second base. But Ryan Howard was able to help Jimmy Rollins there. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you very much, guys. All right, we'll talk to you again. That's Juan Samuel, Phillies first base coach. A pretty quick inning for Roberto Hernandez as we go to the fourth. To make great acquisitions. Drive down to W.B. Mason's What a Bargain and pick up lightly used office furniture at amazingly low prices. Visit whatabargain.com. We go to the top of the fourth inning here at Miller Park. Phillies and the Brewers tied at 1. Jimmy Rollins will lead it off. It's Kyle Loesch who starts him off with a breaking ball. It's 0-1.
Tom, I thought of two more guys, big guys for the Brewers. Greg Vaughn and John Jaha. That trivia question.
Greg Vaughn could hit the ball as far as anyone when he could hit it. Also played for Tampa Bay. Well, I will tell you,
San Diego Padres.
I will tell you, out of the 6 or 7 names that you have mentioned, including our buddy Matt Stairs, who did play for the Brewers in '02, the answer is in one of those names.
Those guys.
Yeah. Here's the 2-1 pitch coming to Rollins. There's a big strike zone tonight, Jamie.
It is. North and south, it is a big strike zone. And both pitchers are utilizing it.
Rollins grounds it to first, backhanded by Overbay. One out. Chase Utley's coming up, and it's time for a Cliff Lee update. So we're going to bring in Murph.
All right, thanks, Tom. Well, yes, we know Cliff Lee pitching down in Clearwater tonight for a rehab assignment. And all in all, pitched pretty good. 59 pitches, 44 strikes. He went 4 innings. He allowed 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. All of the damage came in that 4th inning. For Cliff Lee, he allowed a double, and he actually had a wild pitch and a walk in that inning, and then another double, and that's how they were able to score their runs. But all in all, his numbers look pretty good. And again, most importantly, even more importantly than the numbers, guys, is how he feels tomorrow coming out of it. 59 pitches is the most that he has thrown so far in his attempt to get back to the bigs with that strained elbow. So we'll keep you posted on that, and hopefully he comes out of that tomorrow feeling pretty good.
Yeah, and I guess Monday, Murph, is the hope is where he'll start again.
Yeah, I mean, they're hoping to keep him on that 5-day schedule, and I guess today's Wednesday. If you say it is, I can't keep track anymore. But yeah, so 5 days from now, he'll throw obviously in between his bullpen session, and then again on Monday, and then that probably will be it, I would imagine, if he's feeling pretty good.
Yeah, and then it could set him up to keep your fingers crossed, have him start one of the games in Atlanta next weekend after the All-Star break. As Chase Utley's retired, 2 outs.
And Tom, one other note, just talking about guys coming back from injury. Carlos Ruiz also today went through his impact testing for concussions and came out of it very well and has been cleared for all baseball activities. So that is really good news as well.
That is great news. Yeah, we were kind of surprised by that when we got that, just because the progress was slow. But these last couple days, the progress has been better, which I would assume means after he goes through baseball activities, which means throwing, catching, hitting, they'll maybe get him some. I don't know if he'll have to get some rehab games. He probably will, just because of the concussion. They'll probably have to get him in game situations.
I would believe so. I think that would be best for Carlos, and he'll have a couple days off with the break here too.
And we would just be assuming this, but I would think he'd join the team in Atlanta if everything goes well. I would not think he'd join the team this weekend when they take on the Nationals. 1 ball and 1 strike to Ryan Howard. Ground ball foul, 1-2. Want to go upstairs with this pitch, and they do. 6 strikeouts for Kyle Loesch. Well, for a guy who's not really a strikeout pitcher, he's picked up 6. He's got 93 on the season, and we're going to the bottom of the 4th. Visit your local Delaware Valley Honda dealer or shophonda.com. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Chevrolet, visit your local dealer at chevydealer.com. Bottom of the fourth inning, it's a 1-1 game. It'll be Aramis Ramirez, Chris Davis, Lyle Overbay. 4, 5, and 6 against Roberto Hernandez. Off the hands to the right side. It's Utley's ball. That'll bring Chris Davis to the plate. 35 pitches for Roberto Hernandez. You know what? That's actually a good point to think about. Didn't he throw 39 in the first inning against the Pirates?
Threw quite a few in an inning against Atlanta, too.
Davis takes low, and it's 1 ball and no strikes.
Thought of 2 more names. Jeff Jenkins and Rob Deere.
You already said Rob Deere.
Did I say Rob Deere?
Yeah.
No, I said Billy Joe Robideau.
And then you said Rob Deere.
Did I say Rob Deere?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, yeah. That's what happens. Over 50. I'm starting to go.
There's a strike, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Toyota Major League Scoreboard. Nationals lead the Orioles 5-2. That game's in the bottom of the 6th. Washington's won 7 of their last 10 games, 7 of its last 10. 1-2. By the way, it was 45 pitches against the Pirates. It was 39 against the Braves earlier this season. So with that said, he's got 38 pitches with 1 out here in the 4th.
This is how effective he can be when he gets on top of the baseball.
Ground ball over to third. It's foul ball.
And you see a lot of swings on balls that are down and below the zone.
There's 6 ground outs already. So this is the kind of night where the infielders have to be on their toes. And you usually think that with a sinker ball pitcher, but that hasn't been the case with Roberto for most of this year. Another one for Utley. This one's in shallow center. Well, it's now time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag PhillyFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown later on in the broadcast or an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by AT&T. Folks maybe take a photo tonight. Send it in. We might use it today or tomorrow or later on. From here at Miller Park in your Philly garb. Overbay pulls it into right field. 2 for 2 tonight.
He's using the end of the bat very well tonight. He hit that ball off the end of the bat as well. He didn't break his bat this time.
Martin Maldonado struck out his first time up. And he bunts up the third base line, foul. Larry Bowe is going to pick up that foul ball, just helping out the ball boy and the bat boy tonight.
He said last night he doesn't like to stand still.
Still one of the best guys to talk the game with. I mean, he has information in that head about everything when it comes to the world of baseball. That's why he was so good when he was on the MLB network, because he had an opinion and he knew what was going on with everybody in the league.
Ball and 1 strike. I don't want to jinx him or anything like that, but his sinker is really good tonight. I mean, that one right there was.
You're not jinxing him.
It exploded right in the, down in the zone.
It's as good as we've seen all year, and we've seen spurts of this throughout the course of the season with both Roberto and Kyle. It's a matter of finding that consistency with that sinker, and it's really the arm slot and release point. And we've seen some really good sliders tonight.
It's good that he's throwing them. Swing and a miss. He got it with a 90-mile-an-hour sinker, I should say. That's 3 strikeouts for Hernandez. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. He's getting back in the dugout and hoping the offense could find a little rhythm against Kyle Lohse. The fans trivia quiz answer while Jamie continues to write down former Milwaukee Brewer names. Who holds the Brewers record for sacrifice flies in the season with 14 in 1990? Now, this is the most random question we could ever ask.
Yeah, another name I came up with was Richie Sexton, but I know he wasn't here in 02.
He's not, but he destroyed that scoreboard out in center field one day.
I'm going to go with, when you said big guy, and I did mention some big guys.
Overpay can't get to that one.
I'm going to go with one guy that was glaringly big to me on the mound, Dave Parker.
Dave Parker is correct. Back in 1990, he had 14 sacrifice flies.
The Cobra.
So, County Stadium. I'm sitting 3 rows behind the on-deck circle. And he's standing there swinging the sledgehammer in the on-deck circle.
Making it look like a handheld hammer.
Enormous.
Yeah. Imagine him in a batter's box.
Oh. And he was talking while he was in the on-deck circle. You always heard how intense he was as a player, but he was sitting there chatting.
2 players that could fill a batter's box for me were Dave Parker and Dave Winfield.
Yeah, one's right-handed and one's left-handed, pretty similar in size. At that point, I think Parker was even bigger. When he was first with the Pirates, he was tall, strong. But as his career progressed, whether it be with the Brewers or the A's, he got a little thicker. But that night he could still hit. Outside and high, 2-2 to Marlon Byrd.
I think I saw him in a Reds uniform. He was quite large.
You would have seen him in a Reds uniform.
Large, I mean tall, and just. And I was a very young player. That was a little intimidating for me. And the bat looked like a wiffle ball bat in his hand.
Or number 39, which was an odd number. That wasn't a number that power hitters would wear. Marlon Byrd lined out to short. He hits one softly. That's a fair ball. Sliding play by Maldonado. 2-3 on the putout, one away. Ryan Sandberg's going to come out. He didn't think that was a fair ball. That's not one that he could challenge.
Did it bounce? Did he catch it on the second hop? There's one. I can't tell if he caught it.
I think he did. I think he did. I don't. From that angle, it was tough to tell. From our angle, it was easier to tell. Sandberg came out to discuss it because he didn't think it was a fair ball. You can't challenge that particular play because that ball was in there for a strike to Cody Ashley. It's 0-1.
But he could ask for help, though, right?
Could ask for help, or he could just argue that it was a foul ball, and we could have had a good old-fashioned argument. Swing and a miss. 0-2 to Ashley.
Take notice also how low Maldonado gets. Chooch does that very well.
For a sinker ball pitcher, I guess that helps a little bit. 2 outs. Maldonado thought it was 3. And he steps back, and that's 7 strikeouts for Kyle Lohse. Well, after the San Francisco Giants leave Philadelphia in the 3rd week of July, the Arizona Diamondbacks will come in for a 3-game series Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On Sunday, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 98, will give out the Cole Hamels t-shirts for fans 14 and under. You can go to Phillies.com to purchase your tickets for that series. Dominic Brown to first on a big hop. Oh, we're humming along here. We're going to the bottom of the 5th inning. Lohse has retired 13 consecutive batters. Phillies scored a run in the 1st. Brewers added 1 in the 2nd. And we're all even. By Citizens Bank. Make an impact in a child's life by becoming a mentor. Coach Little League, become a tutor, or be a community volunteer. A small influence can make a huge difference for a child. Good banking is simple, clear, and personal. Now that's helping you bank better. Citizens Bank, good banking is good citizenship. Class of the 5th. Logan Schaefer, Kyle Lohse, and then the top of the order for the Brewers. Against Roberto Hernandez, who allowed a run in the 2nd, but a broken bat single by Lyle Overbay. He's allowed 3 hits. Loesch has allowed 1. And it's 1 ball and no strikes to Schaefer.
Loesch has retired 13 hitters in a row since the Chase Utley home run.
Yeah, he's definitely a strike thrower tonight.
As we talked about early in the game, letting him get settled in and getting a rhythm and a tempo is not a good thing.
Schaefer playing right field again tonight for Ryan Braun. They're not totally sure when Braun's going to be available to play. They said it's a day-to-day thing. It's a treatment-to-treatment thing. He had a bat in the hand last night to possibly pinch hit. That may have just been a decoy. I don't know if he was available to pinch hit or not. They wouldn't say. Three balls and 2 strikes to Schaefer. And ball 4. And that is the second walk, and both have come to Schaefer. What Philly sports topics are you fired up about? Well, tweet it at PST on CSN, and Michael Barkan can discuss your tweet on Philly Sports Talk, presented by Comcast Business, weeknights at 5 on Comcast Sportsnet. Todd Zolecki was a guest tonight from Phillies.com and MLB.com. So was Shaquille O'Neal, the Shaq Daddy. There's a bunt back to the mound. Hernandez will make the play over the first. Loesch couldn't get the bat out of his hand. He had too much pine tar. He ran up the line with it in his hand. And basically, the pine tar was causing the bat to stick to his batting glove. Could be a new infomercial. Carlos Gomez is 0 for 2. Fly ball right center field. Playable for Bird. Schaefer's going to tag. Bird's under it. The throw going to third by Bird is not in time. But there are 2 outs. I think he hurt his fingers when he tried to throw it. That's a lot of pine tar, Jamie. Think he's going to put it on his uniform?
Probably not. Be pretty evident.
Well, he's kind of shown where it happened. He's like, well, what do you want me to do? The bat stuck to my head. It was all over me. Corners are in a little bit for Segura. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. And he bunts toward third. It is a foul ball. Schaefer decided to stay because he figured, all right, Segura may beat that out, but they could come home, and I'm not going to take a chance. Plus, I wonder if Ashley, as he was coming down, was looking for Schaefer. If he may have tried to field it and tag him at the same time. Yeah, it was too close to the line for him to take a chance, and it bunted too hard.
Could do it again.
Side is retired. The Brewers leave one over third. No runs, no hits, and one man left. A solid 5 innings so far for Roberto Hernandez. He'll get a chance to bat when we go to the 6th. The starting second baseman for the 2014 All-Star Game. With over 2.5 million votes, Chase Utley was easily the fans' pick to represent the Phillies in Minneapolis. In All-Star Game history, only Hall of Famers Ryne Sandberg and Joe Morgan have started more games at second base for the National League. Chase is respected all around baseball for the same reasons he is beloved in Philadelphia. And his 6th trip to the Midsummer Classic is brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Cameron Rupp will lead it off as we go to the top of the 6th inning. He struck out his last time up. Kyle Lohse faced 1 over the minimum. The 1 was a home run by Chase Utley. He's retired 13 consecutive batters until now. Cameron Rupp with a base hit to left field. Well, the offense tonight has just 2 hits, but the offense last night kind of exploded for Ryne Sandberg, and that's part of our Geico quote of the day. Rhino said what it took was some patience, some good at-bats, and of course big hits with men on base. It was good to come back like that. KK needed that support. It was good his teammates picked him up. Well, it was good on a lot of different levels that they were able to pick him up, get him a win. There's been a lot of games where he hasn't gotten a whole lot of support. As Roberto bunts it, foul.
See, Tom, here's what we talked a little bit a series or 2 ago about, you're in a definite bunt situation here. Most of the times, pitcher throw first pitch fastball. Right there, Kyle threw a first pitch slider, got a foul ball. They don't want Cameron Rupp at second base. They're going to try to get 2 strikes on him and force him to try to get a ball down without throwing him a fastball.
And he does bunt it up the first base line, and the sacrifice is successful. It wasn't an easy pitch to bunt for Roberto Hernandez.
He got a fastball when it was up. They were trying to get him to pop it up. But there, you watch most bunting situations in today's game, they throw it right down the middle. If that ball's up, Roberto does a great job of getting on top of that ball and putting that ball on the ground and advancing Cameron Rupp. But what I'm trying to say is most of the time teams just throw the ball right down the middle, let the guy bunt the ball. Look, why are you giving him that opportunity to advance a runner. I'm not sure I'm understanding that.
Well, I have to admit that until you mentioned it, it never even dawned on me. And I think a lot of times I think, well, this guy doesn't have the command to do it. This guy doesn't have the precision to do it.
Okay, then why is he in the big leagues? If he doesn't have the command, he doesn't have the precision, why is he in the big leagues?
It's a great point. It's a great point. Off the end of the bat, it's 0-2 to Revere. Ben is 0 for 2. He is struck out. And he's grounded out to the pitcher. Kyle Loesch made a heck of a play the last time Revere was up, throwing him out.
He's very athletic off the mound. I've seen him make a lot of good plays.
They're going to throw behind Rupp, but he's back.
When you think about where Kyle has come from, Kyle Loesch has come from. In 08, we talked in our pregame, that he got, let me see, in 08, he was in St. Louis, got hurt. No, excuse me, it was 09 he got hurt. Learned the sinker in 08. 09 he got hurt, pitched part of 2010 hurt, had surgery, fascial release surgery in his forearm. In rehab, came back in 2011 with the Cardinals. He was 14-8 with a 3.39. 2012 he was 16-3 with a 2.86. 2013 he was 11-10 with a 3.35 on a very mediocre team here in Milwaukee. And this year he's 9-3 with a 3.18. He's really turned himself into a pitcher.
Would you say that Dave Duncan helped change him?
Most definitely. That was where the start of the end, or the beginning of the end.
Up high, 2-2.
Going from a thrower to a pitcher. And I also believe at that time in 08 he was tipping some of his pitches, his off-speed pitches. He would fan his glove when he threw an off-speed pitch. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, when we played together here in Philadelphia, there were some rumors of that.
Well, he was 3-0 when he was with the Phillies back at 07. His ERA was 4.72. Pitched at 13 games, made 11 starts. 3-2 pitch coming to Revere. And he lines that sharply to second on 2 hops. Two outs. Jimmy Rollins is coming to the plate. And Big Time Bats is releasing this full-size bat that will commemorate Jimmy becoming the Phillies' all-time hits leader. It's limited and it sells for $109.95. You can call now 866-280-BATS or log on to BigTimeBats.com.
By the way, that was only Kyle's second 3-ball count of the night there to Ben Revere.
He was about to throw just his 74th pitch of the night. He only has 1 wild pitch this year. The Phillies have a runner at third with 2 men down.
He has 6 at-bats where he's thrown 2 pitches or less.
Guess the goal is to try to get his pitch early. In the air to right field. Going back out it is Schaefer. Back to the warning track. To the wall. It is gone. A home run for Jimmy Rollins. A 2-run shot, and the Phillies take the lead. It's a 3-1 ball game. Well, we said he came close at his first at-bat. This time, there was no doubt about it. Home run number 9 for Rollins. It ends an 0 for 20 stretch.
Jimmy gets a curveball here that stays up in the zone a little bit. And Kyle, the first pitch he threw Jimmy was a hanging curveball for a ball. And there he throws a curveball that's up in the zone, and he stays on it and hits a curveball into the bullpen.
We'll give Cameron Rupp some credit too, because he led off this inning with that single. Eventually it gave Jimmy Rollins a chance to bat here, and his 2-run home run has given the Phillies a 3-1 lead. Here's Chase Utley. Utley homered his first time up. He's 1 for 2. Well, for a Phillies team that only had homered a few times before this series, they've certainly used the long ball to their advantage. There's a fly ball to shallow left field. Davis comes in, and he puts it away. 2 more home runs tonight for the Phillies. The latest one, a 2-run shot by Jimmy Rollins. Phillies will take a 3-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning here in Milwaukee. Your local Nissan store for the ride of your life, and save big today. Buy Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. And by WB Mason, you can't go wrong when you buy right. Phillies lead at 3-1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Well, you got to have a feel for these things. For the 2nd straight night, Jamie's sausage has won the sausage race here at Miller Park. Chorizo led from start to finish. It wasn't even close. He was smoking. Gotta have a feel, Jamie. Gotta have a feel.
Yes, you do. When you got it, you got it.
One ball, no strikes. There is Chorizo.
My new best friend.
You got to get yourself a chorizo shirt or something. 2 balls and no strikes now to Scooter Gennett. Gennett is fly to left. He's grounded out to shortstop. Out toward right center field. Then Revere ventures it to the alley. He says he's got it. Well, there's one out. This has probably been his best outing. Well, it's certainly been his best outing since the month of June, or excuse me, since the month of May. But it's one of his best outings of the year. He did go 7 innings earlier this season, but he's allowed just 3 hits and 1 run so far tonight. And they're swinging early against him too. Here's Ashe on the infield grass. Well, there are 2 outs. All-Star voting isn't over quite yet. You can vote for the final player for each league roster until Thursday, July 10th, which is tomorrow. Go to Phillies.com and cast your ballot for the All-Star Game final vote for the final 2 All-Stars for the game in Minnesota. Vote at Phillies.com or on your mobile phone.
You know, the key here on a night where you have good stuff and your team has just gotten you a 2-run lead, you really need to stay focused on the task, and that's to keep throwing strikes, getting quick outs, and putting zeros up. It's really important not to get caught up and, no, we got 2 runs, we're going to win this game. It's staying focused on what's going on, because just that quick, it can turn on you. And it's just the opposite of when runs aren't being scored for you. You know, if you want to complain about, oh, I'm not getting run support, you know, and focus on that, you're not focusing on the right thing, and that's pitching.
1 ball and 1 strike to Chris Davis. Well, 63 pitches right now for Roberto Hernandez, and his splits are very good. 41 strikes, 22 balls. Another fly ball. Ben Revere into the twilight. He sees it, and the side is retired in order. 1, 2, 3 go the Brewers. 6 in the books. Well, 2 races in the books for Jamie. We go to the top of the 7th. It'll be Ryan Howard, Marlon Byrd, and Cody Ashe due up for the Phils against right-hander Kyle Loesch. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph.
All right, Sal, you guys were just talking about home runs and how the Phils have kind of found that stroke here in Milwaukee. But one guy that hasn't yet is Ryan Howard. He's just 2 for 24 on this road trip. And it's, you know, this particular part of the road trip started with him working on lowering his hands. And take a look at this, because pitchers are working him differently now. First couple months of the season, he was seeing 57% fastballs and have a batting average of 283 against those fastballs. But since July has started, he is seeing more fastballs, 60%. And look at that batting average, just 0.056 against the fastball, 250 against the breaking ball in the month of July. So someone is seeing something that Ryan Howard is having trouble with the fastball, and he is seeing a heavy dose of those nowadays, guys.
Well, I think because he moved his hands. Now his hands are back to where they were before. But I think because he moved his hands, he's just not getting to those fastballs. He's just not fast enough right now to get to those fastballs. So that's why here in July he's hitting under 100 against them.
It's really hard to believe when you think about Ryan Howard and what he's done in his career, and to see those kind of numbers in a month for him against the fastballs. To me, it's kind of shocking.
Yeah, I mean, that's 89 miles an hour right there that Loesch just threw, and he wasn't close to it. Now, that one he's close to. He rips it out towards center field, and it's caught by Gomez. But you're right, Murph. That's not what we were used to with Ryan in previous years. And I think everybody hopes that he finds it because he's tied up for the next couple of years with a big contract. But Ruben Amaro has said over the last couple of days when he's talked about Maikel Franco and getting him some time over at first base if he does come up, it doesn't seem like if they do bring somebody up to platoon that Ryan's going to get. If he doesn't start hitting a little bit more, he's going to get the same kind of time that he's had.
Well, you're not going to bring a young kid up to sit him on the bench.
Correct.
You're going to bring a potential prospect to the big leagues, and you're going to put him out, and you're going to give him a chance to play
At third or first.
Wherever it is, you're going to want to see what he can do here. Otherwise, it's a total disservice to bring a young kid up and not put him, take repetition away from him from the minor leagues and bring him to the big leagues and not play him.
Yeah, Ryan's not going to sit, but the platoon discussion is, it probably is something that they're going to keep entertaining and probably do at some point if he doesn't start to hit a little more consistently. It's 2 balls and 1 strike to Marlon Byrd. He's 0 for 2. He's lined out, and he's hit a tapper to the left of the plate that was handled by Maldonado.
Well, we don't sit in on those meetings, but I got to believe that's something that's been discussed.
That ball's hit foul down the left field line. Back toward the middle, off the mound, a base hit. 1 out single for Marlon Byrd.
He's hit 2 balls, 2 fastballs really hard tonight. That line drive to shortstop that Segura caught in the second inning, and then that ball right there off the side of the mound to center field. Both of those balls were scorched.
Well, he's now 3 for 13 against Kyle Loesch. And here's Cody Ashley, who's 0 for 2. There it goes, and the pitch is hit foul, and it's 0-1. Well, that's what we talked to Juan Samuel about earlier, about putting guys in motion a little bit more, particularly with a guy that they feel comfortable with the bat, and that's Cody Ashley. He floats that one out toward right center field. It's going to drop in for a base hit. And Marlon will stop at second. And that'll put runners on first and second for Dominic Brown. Well, the Fanatic MVP Club is presented by DuPont Hospital for Children. It's for children 14 and under. You can join the Fanatic MVP Club for $13. Receive a Fanatic bobblehead, water bottle, and poster. Go to Phillies.com/MVP Fanatic for more information.
Just kind of sense the Phillies hitters are feeding off of each other in these at bats as we go, look back in the 2 previous games and tonight. They say hitting can be contagious, and I think we're starting to see that a little bit.
That's down the left field line. Davis on the run, and he makes the catch in fair territory. Yeah, there are 2 outs for Cameron Rupp. Well, they definitely look like a much different team than what we saw in Pittsburgh. Now Loesch is probably the best pitcher that they've faced in these last 6 ball games. Would you agree with that?
Most definitely. The most polished.
Yeah, I guess that's the way of putting it. Most polished.
Guy has 4 pitches, command of 4 pitches. Most definitely, Tom.
I mean, Garrett Cole was the most power that they saw, but they saw him for 5 innings on Friday.
You see power almost every night.
One ball, no strikes to Rupp. He singled his last time up. He Wentz is the first base umpire, Dan Bellino, and it's 2-2. So the Major League scoreboard, the Mets have defeated the Braves 4-1. Travis d'Arnaud, after spending some time in the minor leagues, had a home run and 2 RBIs in that ball game for the Mets. So the Mets are now 7 out. They're 42-49. They've won 4 straight. Now the Phillies are 9.5 out in the East. It's all dependent right now on what happens with the Washington game. Washington game's in the 9th inning. Those will be off. There they go. The 3-2 is hit out towards center field. It's not deep. Coming on is Gomez, and he's going to play it on one hop. Bird will score. Over to third is Ashe, and Cameron Rupp is 2 for 3, and he picks up an RBI. The Phils tack on. They lead it 4-1. And Roberto Hernandez is going to get a chance to bat here in the 7th inning.
Great at bat here by Roberto. He saw a number of sliders, or excuse me, not Roberto, by Cameron Rupp. He saw a number of sliders, and he stayed with that one long enough, hit it off the end of the bat, and just got it out into short center field. And with Marlon Byrd moving on the pitch, allows Marlon to score easy, and puts runners at first and third. Cody Ashe moves to third base.
.98 pitches now for Kyle Loesch. Roberto's 0 for 1, a sac bunt, his last time up. It's that foul up the third base side, and it's 0-2. That's what Roberto needs here. He needs a little dribbler, so he beat it out for an infield hit. You don't think he's going to beat it out?
That'd be a Will Whittle dribbler.
He doesn't make contact. He's down on strikes. Side is retired, but the Phillies add another one on a base hit by Cameron Rupp, and it's time to stretch. tonight too. Cameron with 2 base hits. He scored a run. He's driven in a run. As we take a look at our local Honda dealers game summary, Roberto Hernandez, he has been efficient, as you mentioned. 3 strikeouts over 6 innings. Jimmy Rollins' 2-run home run in the 6th inning gave the Phils a 3-1 lead. They tacked on another one in the 7th. And now we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. And Roberto Hernandez, who's outdueled Kyle Loesch tonight, will face Lyle Overbay, Martin Maldonado, and Logan Schaefer. 64 pitches for Roberto Hernandez.
He's done a fabulous job tonight. You go back early in his career, he had a big year. Was he 18-5?
19.
19-5. I'm sure this is exactly what he looked like for many of those starts.
Mentioned his last start, he threw 45 pitches in the 1st inning. And he's at 64 through 6 here tonight. No doubt the bullpen will be on their toes just in case, but
he has 11 at bats of 2 pitches or less tonight.
Well, that's the part that I think is mind-boggling. Not that we don't want the Brewers to do that, but it's mind-boggling that they go after him so soon. I mean, the Brewers are that aggressive, but I think there has to be some kind of an adjustment from pitcher to pitcher.
But this also shows you what kind of stuff he has.
Over to first, Ryan Howard. Got to take it to the bag. 1 out. So that's 3 pitches and 1 away. Every time the Phillies retire the opposition, 1, 2, 3. And Roberto's done it twice tonight. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports.
9 ground ball outs. Nice.
He's got Maldonado twice on strikes.
And this is what you should be seeing with any type of sinker ball pitcher, sinker, slider, changeup kind of guys. This is what you see. And some people call it boring. I think it's called pitching. I think he's doing like you said, a fantastic job with this tonight. Here's a kind of outing that you build off of.
Chopper to third. She's got some time. 2 outs. So 10 ground ball outs, 2 away here in the 7th. And that'll bring Logan Schaefer to the plate.
Tom, you talked earlier about Cliff Lee potentially coming back somewhere probably shortly after right after the All-Star break. This kind of pitching really makes decisions difficult for a coaching staff. But you need to see this on a consistent basis. This is one night, and it's great to see and witness this time. But you need this consistency, outing after outing after outing.
A 1 hopper to shortstop. Jimmy Rollins is there. 3 ground ball outs, and it's an easy 7th inning for Roberto Hernandez. 7 pitches. That's it. We'll go to the 8th. He's in total control tonight, just as we expected. you. Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. Buy McDonald's. Any size hot or iced coffee is just $1. McDonald's, I'm loving it. And buy Dodge. Visit dodge.com or your local dealer today. Phillies lead it 4-1. As Benaviero lead it off, chops the pitch toward the hole, backhanded by Segura. 1 out. 1 out here in the top of the 8th inning. And Benaviero is going to take his sweet old time getting back to the dugout. Give Roberto Hernandez a little extra time to rest. Jimmy Rollins is coming up, and Rollins homered his last at bat.
Yes, he did. He saw a breaking ball here. It stayed in the middle of the plate, about mid-thigh. Hit it into the Phillies bullpen for a 2-run home run. Give the Phillies a 3-1 lead at that point of the game in the 6th.
Yeah, they added 1 more in the 7th. And it's 0-1. A looper out toward right. Schaefer makes the catch. That was a knuckleball.
He threw a knuckleball? No, that was a slider.
That he hit it was a knuckleball.
Okay.
From our vantage point, you can kind of watch it sort of dance around a little bit. Well, it's time now for a Hyundai defensive play of the game. This is one of the harder hit balls here tonight by Marlon Byrd.
Here in the 2nd inning, Marlon hits a line drive to Segura at shortstop, and the only way he was going to get to this ball was to dive, and he made a very good play. And that would be our Hyundai defensive play of the game.
Chase Utley's the batter. He's 1 for 3. Homered his first time up. Ken Giles is warming up again in the bullpen for the Phils. Ground ball knocked down by Loesch. He can't find it. Now gets it and throws it right on by Overbay. Utley will get to at least second base on this one. And he'll stop there. I would think 1-1 on that one. A hit and an error. And that'll be the second hit of this ball game for Utley, so he now has 6 hits in this series.
Again, another athletic play by a pitcher to stop the baseball, but not quite so athletic in throwing it. Yeah, he's very frustrated. Kyle Loesch is right there, and he probably should have just held on to it.
Utley's average, by the way, is now back to 294. Ground ball toward the middle. Jeanette has it. Is there an event that we don't know about that these two teams are going to? We're going to the bottom of the 8th inning already. It's 4-1. Phillies on top. For the 8th inning here in Milwaukee, and Roberto Hernandez is about to begin the 8th inning for just the 2nd time this year. Take a look at our Mazda leaders. Since the 3rd of June, the Phillies bullpen is second only to the Padres in the National League with a 2.35 ERA. Those two guys right there are a big reason why. Particularly Kenny Giles, the nearest to us. But tonight it's been all Roberto Hernandez. 71 pitches so far. 7 innings, 3 hits, 3 strikeouts. Been remarkable. Ricky Weeks is the pinch hitter, and he takes it inside. It's 1-0. Kyle Loesch's night is done after 8 innings. He wasn't bad. He scattered 7 hits and 4 runs. At one point, he retired 13 in a row. Rob Wooten. Saw him in game 1, warming up here in game 3. Fly ball, center field. It's pretty well hit, but it's going to stay in the yard. Well, there's 1 out. Well, this year's All-Star Game will be on Tuesday, July 15th in Minnesota. You can watch the National League take on the American League. And that game and all the action will be on Fox.
Roberto's Hernandez's low hit complete game is 3. He's done it 3 times, and the last time he's done it was versus the Minnesota Twins in 2010.
He was still with the Indians at that time. That one got a piece of the home plate umpire, Jeff Kellogg. And Cameron Rupp will head out to the mound and give Kellogg some time. Now, Kellogg's a tough guy. You know, he's had to miss some time over the course of the last few years because of foul balls off the mask, like a lot of umpires. You recall last year, though, actually it was in 2012, there was a fan who made his way onto the field in Baltimore and was running all around, eluding the security guards in Baltimore. And Jeff Kellogg had enough, and he tackled him at home plate, and he subdued him until security was able to take him off the field. I mean, it wasn't as cool as Matt Diaz bumping the fan in Philly. Took matters into his own hands.
Slowing down his game.
If you recall, the fan in Baltimore, he was running around all over the place. Another foul ball, and it remains 1-2. Roberto Hernandez, 79 pitches with 1 out here in the 8th. 3 innings on the 4th. I know we keep going back to the game on July 4th. 3 innings on the 4th. 75 pitches.
Quite a difference when you have it versus when you don't have it. I like seeing it when he has it.
This has been the best we've seen him.
I recall in spring training, again it was spring training, but I recall a game in spring training where he had this kind of stuff, but we only saw him for 3 or 4 innings. It's in there. Just got to maintain it. There's another guy it's in there, Mr. Kendrick.
Another fly ball. This one shallow right. Utley gives way to Bird. And it's a season high 7 2/3 for Roberto Hernandez. 2 outs. Murph, it's going fast, so we're going to hand it right over to you for the Major League Notebook.
All right, yeah, let's get it done. They've been brought to you by Gwinnett Mercy University. And the big story in baseball today, Yankees rookie superstar Masahiro Tanaka has been placed on the DL with elbow inflammation. He complained of soreness after his last start. Tanaka, of course, was selected to the All-Star game, but he will not participate. He is 12-4 in the season, but just 1-3 in his last 4 starts. And also, the Red Sox making news today. Their veteran catcher, A.J. Pierzynski, has been designated for assignment. He has been struggling most of this season, batting just .254, and management said it was time where the Red Sox are in the standings, 10.5 games out. They just decided it was time to see some of the young guys be brought up, so they have designated Pierzynski for assignment. Guys?
He has 10 days to clear waivers unless there could be a trade made. They brought up Christian Vasquez, who will take Pierzynski's spot on the roster. 1-year contract, $8.25 million for A.J. Pierzynski this year. One ball, 1 strike. Over to third. Big hop. And she's got it. Quickly to first. In time. Roberto Hernandez. 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. We'll go to the 9th. It's 4-1 Phillies. But also behind that guy right there, Roberto Hernandez, 3 hits and 1 run over 8 innings of work. And speaking of the offense, it's time now for our WVation deliveries of the game. Phillies have gone yard twice in this ball game.
Yeah, here Chase Utley gets a fastball, middle in, hits a line drive over the right field wall for the first run of the game, put the Phillies up. And then here in the 6th inning, Jimmy Rollins gets a curveball mid-thigh down the middle and deposits it into the bullpen for the 4th run of the game for the Phillies to put them up 4-1. And that's where the game stands right now, going into the the top of the 9th inning.
And Roberto Hernandez, well, I don't know what they're going to do with him in the 9th inning. You know, it is a safe situation. Papelbon has the glove on, is throwing in the bullpen. Rob Wooten will take over for the Brewers here in the top of the 9th. So the Phillies have scored a run in the 1st, 2 in the 6th, and then 1 in the 7th. Brewers athletic trainer was working on Jeff Kellogg's ear in between innings. That's where the foul ball got him in the last half inning. They were trying to stop the edge of that from bleeding. Marlon Byrd will lead it off against Wooten, who's on for Kyle Loesch. The first pitch is fouled, and it's 0-1.
Seen a lot of teams on this road trip starting Marlon Byrd off with a first pitch curveball. Whether there's runners in scoring position or not.
Another curveball, and it's outside and low. 2-0, or 1-1, I should say.
It tells me they think he's an ambusher. He's a guy that's going to swing at the first pitch fastball.
It's not an odd thought.
And those two curveballs set up that pitch right there, a fastball up and in.
One ball, 2 strikes. Hey, Murph, the bottom of the 8th inning got over pretty quick. I don't know if you finished the rest of your notebook or not. There was another note on there.
Well, we did add one additional note, and that was dinner reservations at 9:30. I mean, why not, right? We can do it. Let's go.
You better be quiet about that. Nobody wants anything to go any longer than it needs to.
Well, that's true. I probably shouldn't have put it on the notebook then.
Down and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Phillies have played a lot of long games this year, particularly because they've given up a lot of runs. But both starting pitchers tonight were very good. Papelbon's warming up, so I would think Hernandez is done. Outside, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Bird.
You know, Tom, talking about length of games, Ryne Sandberg was actually asked about that today because, you know, the last 2 games prior to this one have been exceedingly long, and he was asked why he thought that. He said for him it's one thing and one thing only, and that is pitching, and the lack of command from starting pitchers just allows, you know, a lot of deep counts, and it's just all over baseball right now. I mean, that's what he brings.
I think he's right on that. I think it's not the Phillies alone. There are other teams.
No.
There's been a bunch of teams in the East that have played extended ball games. By the way, I think Bob McClure just told Roberto Hernandez, Murph, that he was done. I don't think Roberto was all too pleased about it. I think Roberto really wants to get out there and try to finish this ball game.
I'm thinking, you know what, he's worked this hard to get to here. Give him that opportunity. And, you know, Pap's been up, what, 2 days in a row?
Mm-hmm.
Be awesome if they needed him again tomorrow, and he'd be available. And right now, you know, they don't necessarily need him. And you got some other fresh arms out there. You know, no disrespect to Jonathan, but Roberto's done a great job tonight. He's got his pitch count down. I mean, this is a manager's dream right here. To have your starter go 8 innings and be at, what, 80? What do we got him at? 84 pitches?
There's Davis over toward the line, and he makes the catch. Now, he still may go out. But with Papelbon warming up, you would think that he's not. Time now for our AT&T fan photo of the game. Now, this one comes from Philly C. Wood. First game and first hot dog. It has to be a Hatfield Dollar Dog Night. There's Dominic Brown with 2 outs. Brown is 0 for 3, a strikeout, a ground out, a fly out. 1 ball, no strikes.
Look at Roberto's pitches thrown per inning tonight. It's ridiculous in a good way. He's got 4 innings there. He's thrown more than 10 pitches. 7 in the first, 19 in the second, 8 in the third, 12 in the fourth, 11 in the fifth, 7 and 7 in the 6th and 7th, and 13 in the 8th. Pretty special. This is one of those games that you savor. And to me, you take some video from this game, not necessarily the whole game, but you take a couple video clips of mechanics, and this is what you watch, just to reiterate the positives.
Yeah, the discussion after this about what was right compared to his last outing where everything was wrong.
Right. And to me, like I said this, I think this back in Atlanta, we had this conversation. Let's finish after the inning's over.
All right, 1, 2, 3. The Phillies go down in order here in the 9th inning. Roberto is sitting on the bench. Is he going out, or is Papelbon coming in? It looks like Pap's going to come in as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning with the Phillies on top, 4-1. As did here tonight for the Philadelphia Phillies. It was outstanding. 8 innings. He allowed 3 hits and 1 run. It's only on Pure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Postgame Live. 4-1. Phillies on top as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. And the Phillies closer, Jonathan Papelbon, is on to try to secure this one for a guy that he calls Rubber Toe, Andres Blanco, and this has been the case recently, is on to play third base for the Phils. Papelbon 2-1, an ERA of 1.27, 21 saves. (31 strikeouts in 35 1/3. He's had back-to-back 1-2-3 outings. And he will face Scooter Gennett, Aramis Ramirez, and Chris Davis. Papelbon dusting off the mound, and now Brian O'Nora is going to take a look at the baseball. Kind of interesting.
I think when they threw down the ball down to second base, it skipped in the dirt, and Gennett asked to have the ball checked.
I think Pap apologized to Brian O'Nora for throwing it a little short to him. First pitch is over. It's 0-1. Papelbon, of course, had a drought of save situations. Cody Gwynn, by the way, is also in as a defensive replacement in left field for Dominic Brown. 0-2. Pap had a drought of save opportunities, but now he's gotten a chance to save a ball game for the 3rd consecutive day. No balls and 2 strikes to Gennett. Ground ball to second, to his left Utley. 1 away. Roberto Hernandez retired the last 10 batters that he faced. He didn't allow a hit since the 4th inning. And now Papelbon gets the ground ball to second. And Aramis Ramirez 1 for 3. He reached on an infield hit. He popped out. A little low, 1 ball, no strikes. Here's the 1 ball, 1 strike pitch to Ramirez. Out toward left field. Tony Gwynn is there. And 2 outs. And Jonathan Papelbon is 1 out away from saving this one for the Phils. And Chris Davis 0 for 3. Well, this has been a clinic here tonight for the Phillies pitchers. Roberto Hernandez, and now the first 2 batters retired quickly by Jonathan Papelbon. Fastball in there. It's 0-1.
Hernandez tonight had 9 flyouts, 12 groundouts, 3 strikeouts, and 21 hitters with 3 pitches or less.
Well, I guess that's the MO of the Brewers. We've been talking about that in the 4 games or 6 games that we've seen between these 2 teams. Swing and a miss. He got him. An easy save for Jonathan Papelbon as the Phillies have won 3 consecutive ball games, and Papelbon has 3 straight 1-2-3 inning saves. And the Phillies win it tonight 4-1 over the Brewers behind Roberto Hernandez and the long ball for the Phils. Well, this was as dominant a night for Phillies pitching as we have seen in quite some time. Jimmy Rollins' 2-run home run broke a 1-1 tie that gave the Phils the lead. Then they tacked on 1 more, and a base hit by Cameron Rupp. The scoring started with Chase Utley's solo home run in the 1st inning. And the Phillies have taken the first 3 from the Milwaukee Brewers, and it was all behind the big right-hander who, man, needed a good outing tonight, and he gave